just a real quick, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, real quick, how have you seen the whole, Napa wine scene change?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think back then in all of Sonoma and Napa, there was something like 300 wineries, which sounds like a lot, but I mean, you're talking about a pretty big area. Now there's something like 2,000 wineries. So, just the density has changed so much. Back then, it was the Wild West. I mean, when you would go wine tasting and you would just be driving around looking for a mom and pop winery, you'd basically drive up to the garage, and they'd be doing the wine tasting on a barrel head right there. That time, there's definitely still those experiences to be found. And actually partially because there's so many wineries these days, there's definitely still small boutique producers, and those experiences are there to be found, but they're off the beaten path for sure. There's just been so much more consolidation, and it's just there's a lot more corporate wine. It's just a fact. It's not all.
So is
bad.
it getting more corporate throughout the years since then? 80s, 90s. It's just getting more corporate, more big of a business.
I mean, to an unimaginable degree, really. It's not all bad. I mean, there's a lot of more professionalism in the industry in certain ways. So there's.
Is that a large dog or a bear that just walked behind you?
Yeah, that's the kitty. That's Agent Kitty. That's Agent Melon.
That's a hell of a large cat. So basically, Addison, just so we will note, Addison's sitting out in his picturesque trees outside. His interview is being done outside. Yeah. For the people who can see, he's showing the camera. This is a total picturesque Napa Valley, scene right here. So
got the sauna over here.
Oh my God, you got that pine wood sauna off to the side, and that's outside, right?
Yeah.
Total Northern California situation. Okay.
Totally.
Now, last question because I want to get the feel for how Napa wine country is out there, right now. Do you still get the Paul Giamatti Sideways from that movie Sideways? Those kind of guys that are just, is wine as pretentious with certain sex as ever, or what's happening with that?
It's funny because that's the difference for me between Sonoma and Napa is I'm a casual wine person. Like I really, really am. I fundamentally believe that a good wine is a wine that you like, and I have a really hard time with all the tasting notes when people are telling me, oh, it tastes like crushed jackfruit and Fendi handbags, I'm like, but does it though? So I personally really gravitate towards the more casual enjoyment side, and I feel like Sonoma is very good at that. So when I'm in the tasting room at Deerfield, that's the kind of experience that I try to bring to the table. You get all types. I mean, you really do. There's people that, are very serious traditional tasters that take the wine experience very seriously. These days, a lot of people just come to have fun recreationally. Just come up, maybe visit one or two wineries with their friends and go to a restaurant and get hammered, it's all fine and good, man. But I definitely think that everybody can approach wine how they want to approach it, and it's what it really is an incredibly, as you kind of said at the beginning, there's an ancient history to this art. There really is a lot to it. It's incredibly interesting and deep. So I think you can kind of go as deep into those waters as you want to go and have fun with it that way, But I also think you can know your shit. You can know your shit and really kind of bring a lot of knowledge to the table and still not take yourself too seriously. So
I'm not a wine connoisseur. I like wine. I know just enough to be dangerous. I was talking to somebody at a party one time, this Indian guy, and he was a wine snob. And I said, my friend's got a couple cases of these Chateau Margaux. Was it Chateau Margaux, 1973, yeah. Chateau Margaux. And he goes, bullshit. He goes, it's bullshit. It's already peaked. Yeah, and I was like, really? I don't know. Has it peaked?
I mean, in my opinion, see, that's the thing is I don't particularly like to drink older wines. It's every once in a while. I mean, just the other day we were as one of my wine buyer for Wine Spies. Dude is extremely knowledgeable, and he's got a pretty impressive collection. So every time it's somebody's birthday, he'll pop a bottle for their birth year. So we were drinking an 83 last week, and I just find that people have to say things like, "Oh, it still holds up, and you're like, yeah, but it's not good. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Every wine, like, there's a certain point where it will improve with age. Personally, I don't think it's much longer than a decade for most wines. There's going to be people that strongly disagree with that. I like wine that tastes like fresh fruit, that tastes like grapes still. And one thing that comes out with wine aging is what we call tertiary flavors. And it is true. There's certain flavors that are only to be found with age. And I'm sorry, but to me, it's just not as enjoyable as the actual fresh grapes themselves, But I'm kind of basic in that way. Like, I like Zinfandel.
You like it somewhere between 10 years and where Steve Martin would say in The Jerks, bring us some fresh wine.
Yeah, fresh wine.
That's one of my last movie references I'll do, because now we got to get back into your story. So what I want now we need a little education. We need a little bit of, back and forth on that. But now you're working for your uncle, because we got to get into this amazing thing that you do now, which is different and interesting. But how does your career, go from you working at your uncle's? What do you do? How does it segue into next?